Hey, my name is Christine and welcome to my story about living on $2,000 a month. And if you've missed part one of this story, I will leave that down below for you. I did that video a couple of weeks ago and it's basically my story of gaining financial independence. Maybe it's not super realistic here in 2021. It is my story and I'm happy to share it with you. After that first year in Idaho, my husband applied and received a job in the Dallas, Texas area. We moved there for several reasons. Number one, they pay their teachers way more than they pay them in Idaho. Back then, the starting salary was right at about $40,000 a year. Today, that same position starts at $56,000 a year, so quite an increase from back then. Our income jumped up to a take-home of just a hair over $3,000 a month. This is mostly for two reasons. Number one is Texas does not have state income tax to pay at all. And number two, teachers in the state of Texas do not have to pay into Social Security. So our take home was a little bit higher than it might have been if we had to pay those things. So you're thinking, yes, we moved from a take home pay of $2,000 a month to $3,000 a month. This is all well and good, but we had some debt. We had previously saved up $20,000 as a down payment on our first house. So we moved into our first house with zero savings at all. Please do not do that. I do not recommend it. When we got that first water bill, I cried because I didn't know how I was gonna pay it. And we didn't have blinds in our house for 6 months because we could not afford the $100 a blind to put up in our house. Dave graduating college meant that we had about $13,000 in student loans. We had about $5,000 of medical bills from having my second baby because we had fairly bad insurance. They wouldn't pay anything until we hit $5,000. And then, I mean, technically our bill was like $7,000 altogether, but I did try and pay some before I had the baby. So our total after the baby was $5,000 plus the $13,000 of student loans. We had read the Dave Ramsey book. And so we were like, let's do baby step 2 and pay off all of our debt as fast as possible. So once again, we cut our budget as small as we could in order to pay off the $18,000 of debt as quickly as we could. I was a stay-at-home mom to 2 children and my husband was a Spanish school teacher, kept our grocery budget at about $100 a month. We ate a lot of spaghetti and a lot of beans and rice and a lot of oatmeal for breakfast. I made a ton of homemade bread, homemade granola, no yogurt, no string cheese, no granola bar, no berry syrups. They were all too expensive, so I just didn't buy them. And yeah, if you were wondering if there were some meals that didn't go over very well, there sure were, because I was still learning how to cook back then. Our utility bills were all low-ish. We only had electric in our house. It was about $100 a month, depending on if it was summer or not, because let me tell you what, summer in Dallas is hot and you run that AC. But we tried to keep the house like as warm as possible. So in the summertime, we kept it at like 80 degrees and in the wintertime, we kept it at 68 degrees, which I was wrapped in blankets. I remember being freezing all the time. I feel like I have a complex about it now. Owned our cars and Dave did now have to commute to work every day. So our gas bill went up to about $100 a month because I didn't go anywhere. I tried to only go out maybe once every 2 weeks. And I did actually have to go out because we lived outside of the city a little bit because it was a cheaper house. So that meant I couldn't get to the grocery store or post office or library or anything unless I drove 15 or 20 miles into town. Our biggest expense, once again, was definitely our house. While we didn't buy too much house, something that maybe people leave out is how much you're gonna pay in property taxes. And if someone is trying to tell you how much property taxes are gonna add to your monthly payment, you need to listen to them because that is not something I listened to. And Texas tends to have very high property taxes because they have no state income tax. So believe it or not, they're gonna get their taxes some way. My small little house that was worth like $120,000, my property taxes were $300 a month. Our house payment with everything included was about $1,200 a month. And when you make $3,000 a month, you've just cut a huge portion off of your budget. Now, with all the things I've already said, I have taken my $3,000 monthly take-home budget down to $1,500. I haven't done very much yet. And remember, we wanted to pay as much as possible, every penny we could towards debt. And for some reason, $1,000 a month sounded good. So we took $1,000 a month and threw it at the debt. We started with the medical debt and then moved to the student loan debt as fast as we could, which takes the money we have left in our bank account every month down to $500 a month. Let's talk about some other expenses that we did. Going out to eat? Nope, did not do it. Date night, movies, concerts? Nope, didn't do it. Buying clothes, getting our hair done? No, no, and no. I never got my hair done. I didn't get it cut. I didn't spend any money on it. Dave cut his own hair. What the heck did we do? I look back on it. I think we spent every spare minute we could doing some kind of side hustle to make more money to either pay for non-monthly bills or to throw at debt. Dave tutored at home on the computer for Spanish. He cleaned carpets at night. He would go out and do a job all night, like 8 p.m. to midnight or 1, and get paid $75 to $100. Those carpet cleaning nights are how we purchase blinds for our house every couple weeks. I babysat a kid here and there. During the summers, we took the whole family and worked at Boy Scout camp every single summer, because that's kind of the nice thing is teachers get the summers off, so you can get like a part-time job here. So we went and did that, and that's how we paid for car insurance. That's how we paid for life insurance, diapers, new baby gear, stuff like that. One splurge we did have at the time is we paid for Dish Network. Do you remember that? It was the first time. I actually don't know if they had DVRs yet, but we got some kind of weird deal to where it was $35 a month for our Dish Network. Every time it came up and like the bill was gonna jump up, I called and I was like, hey, I'm gonna cancel. And they tried to talk me out of it. And I was like, no, I'm gonna cancel. And they say, what if we offer you the $35 rate for another 2 years? And I'd say, great. We did that for so long. Oh, I forgot about our like water sewer trash. That was always about $80 a month. Cell phones were expensive back then. We had Verizon, we only had the 2 dumb phones, and for some reason it was still $100 a month. We ended up never getting a landline. We did have internet at our house, although there was no wireless back then. Do you remember those days? That was $25 a month way back in the day. I did set aside about $50 a month for household items, light bulbs, toilet paper, cleaning products, all that random stuff that you just need in your house sometimes. I am now left with $210 that I used for charitable contributions, anything else that jumped up throughout the month, and any penny I had left went towards the debt. So here's some lessons that I learned from this time period of my life that hopefully you can take some of these tips and apply them to your life to achieve your financial goals. Whether it's to save up to buy a house, pay off debt as quickly as possible, save up for that dream vacation, whatever it is that you want to do, you're probably going to have to give up something in order to achieve that. So what I learned is if you spend most of your time working, you don't have any time to spend any money, which is great. Not going out to eat and cooking everything from scratch can save you a crap ton of money, more than you'd ever thought possible. Number 3, having goals and daily habits with your partner, being on the same page, can make drastic things happen. We were able to pay off all that debt in just about 18 months. So when Andrew was 1.5 years old, we were officially debt-free, paid off all the student loans, paid off all the medical bills. It was a huge weight off of our backs, and we felt so free, honestly, to not owe anybody money and then be able to take that $1,000-ish a month that we were putting towards debt and then start investing in our future and vacations and family activities and things like that. Going on a journey like this helps you to identify needs and wants really, really well. A lot of new clothes purchases truly are wants. Getting your hair done is a want. Absolutely, it is not necessary. Back in those days, like, I didn't wear makeup, I didn't buy it, I didn't have it. Me and the library were best friends. So if you have not made friends with your local library, you need to go do that stat. They have free movies, free TV shows, free books, free entertainment for the kids. It is one of the best places to become familiar with when you are really trying to cut your budget. And this was a really big deal to me. I don't know how to coach you through this part of it, but I had a really awesome group of friends during this time period, and we had weekly play dates, if you will, or play group, where we would go to playgrounds or community swimming pools. So we would switch playgrounds every week, and we would all bring our 2-year-olds and 3-year-olds and snacks. We would chat while the kids would go play on the playground for 2 hours. It was a life-saving, sanity-saving time in my life. Maybe you could be the one to set it up. Just ask your neighbors. I'm telling you, you stay-at-home moms, I know, I was you. You were desperate for friendship, someone to talk to. There's a reason that when our husbands come home from work and we like yammer to them and they're like, oh my gosh, stop talking. It's because we have to get like our quota of talking. The isolation and loneliness I felt as a stay-at-home mom with young children is difficult to explain. Those group of friends and those play groups were my favorite times of the week, and they were all free. My family became debt-free in 2008, and we have not looked back since. Not having any payments, not having any car payments have been a huge blessing in our lives. I know you guys can do it too. It took us a couple of years to get there. It's probably gonna take you a couple of years as well, but even if you don't make a ton of money, you can still make really smart decisions and make the money that you do have go a really long way. Thanks for listening to my story. Thanks for hanging out with me today. If you like content like this, maybe give me a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel so you see future videos that I do. And if you haven't checked out my main channel, Frugal Fit Mom, that link will be down in the description box. I do a lot of cooking and stuff over there. So thanks for hanging with me today, and I'll see you in the next video.